The following presentation is an AI-free production, 100% researched, written, and edited by actual human beings. All mistakes are purely human error, guaranteed. Like, what is the first one you can remember seeing? Like, at what age?
Online?
Oh, no, I just mean, like, in general. Like, what was the oldest thing you saw?
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably when I was a kid, and it was some TV show.
That's the end.
You know, it's one of those, like, corny... It's got to be one of those corny, like, 1970s, like, Sid and Marty Krofft shows or something like that, you know, where they're like, it's a haunted cave or whatever, but I don't remember.
Okay. So I was getting responses from people who were, like, Gen X, who were saying it was, like, In Search of Leonard Nimoy in the 70s, you know, shows like that. And then for millennials and younger Gen X, it's like, well, Unsolved Mysteries was probably a big one. TV shows that had it, you know, pre-internet. Like, where were you seeing these things? I
tell you, what I do remember as far as the most monumental ghost portrayals, they weren't realistic, but like in fiction, that really scared the crap out of me. It was Poltergeist, the movie. Now, I was maybe 10 or 10, I think 10. And I had a delinquent neighbor friend where my mom was actually at home and his folks were gone. He was like, stereotypical Gen X, like latchkey kid. And he was a bit of a savage. And so they had like the very early cable TV stuff. And I remember it was in the middle of the afternoon. I was just watching Poltergeist and I didn't know what the hell it was. And watched the whole thing. And one of the brilliant things about that movie is it was filmed in a suburban neighborhood that also happened to look very much like the neighborhood that I grew up in.
Okay. Well, I think that's also intentionally why they set that whole movie in a suburban thing. It makes it more impactful to people. Yeah.
It was a brilliant writing move because that really hadn't been done before in any major way where, you know, before it's like it's an old haunted house.
Yeah. Gothic horror.
Hey, Scooby-Doo. That's probably the oldest, actually, is Scooby-Doo. But you always find out it's the carnival owner or something like that. But, it's always some creaky haunted house or a cemetery. But it's like, no, it's in your home. It's in your own home, and you don't even know it. And go back and watch that film. I mean, it's mostly practical effects and stuff like that, but it's scary as crap. It's you know, they did stuff nobody had done before, and it was just like the creepy old tree looking through his window, and then it just grabs him finally, and you're like, ah.
I think that I would credit the movie Poltergeist with being something that kind of created or shaped the modern ghost story, even into the ghost videos that we're going to talk about. Because like you said, the setting changed. And, you know, before that it was like, oh, my family went to this old, you know, hotel and it was haunted, but it was never, you know, my 1970s home is haunted. And a lot of the ghost videos they exist within this framework of, I moved into this newer home and weird stuff is happening, so I'm going to catch it on film.
Do you think that if that movie never existed and no one had done something similar, that a lot of these YouTube videos now would not be in people's houses and stuff, but would be out in cemeteries? And
I think so. I'd credit, initially it's Poltergeist, and then it got reinvigorated when the movie Paranormal Activity. Because before that, why the hell are you filming in your own home? You know, and now that's the thing, is that a lot of these videos are just, I just have a camera always running in my home, recording my kitchen, and it caught this at 3 a.m. You know, it's like, why are you filming inside your house?
I always thought that was weird, and then I realized one of our neighbors, they have cameras like in their living room because they have dogs.
Okay.
And when they're not home, and they got microphones so they can yell at the dogs and it freaks the dogs out. But otherwise it doesn't make sense. It's like, why do you have a damn camera in your hallway?
Yeah. We're actually kind of in it. Maybe we should just start going from here.
Hello, dig for bones.
Hello, and welcome to the Least Haunted Podcast, a place where science, skepticism, humor, and anthropology meet to discuss all things spooky, haunting, supernatural, and sometimes just the plain ridiculous. I'm your host, Cody Franks, and our regular co-host, Garth, is away wandering the Mojave Desert, hugging yucca trees until he finds the Yucca Man. So instead, joining me today is friend of the show, Dr. Tim King.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here.
Yeah, let's see, this is what, maybe sixth time?
I guess 6th or 7th, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But this is different. Like, you know, I'm not hosting. I'm your Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
I get to be the getaway car driver, which is kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah, I think this episode, 'cause we don't have Garth, so the format changes a little bit, and I'm not expecting you to be Garth. This is going to be more of a conversation that two buddies are going to have about something.
Well, I guess. And I'm not the Garth. Only Garth can be Garth. Mm-hmm. There's only one Garth.
Almost always, yeah.
But I'm it's that evening talk show thing where there's the other guy sitting on the far end of the couch, like Andy Richter and everybody else. I'm your Guillermo.
Yeah. So today's topic, we're actually going to talk about something that I was actually kind of surprised, I think, to find that you watched as many of these as I seem to have as well, or that you were, I wouldn't say a fan, but a regular consumer of internet YouTube ghost videos.
Oh yeah, it's really good YouTube garbage TV.
Yeah.
Well, you know why? Okay, I'll tell you why we find it. My fiance and I, we find it entertaining. It's because we'll watch them in pretty much every video. We're like, those are strings, or we'll find something of like, oh, that's your own shadow. Mm-hmm. Rarely do we see something where it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Most of the time, and I'm not saying that they're all fake, and we're like sitting here, we're debunking or anything. But there's a lot of this stuff. Majority of it is just really mundane, common stuff, and people are like trying to find supernatural explanations for something. They just like, no, look, if you squint and turn right, do you see what really is going on here?
For me, when you said that it is like trash TV, I've been watching these things since early internet, at least since I know I was watching some before YouTube went online, because YouTube came online in 2005. So that was after I graduated high school, but I did have distinct memories of watching ghost videos on the internet before that. And I'm just trying to remember, like, where the hell were we streaming these things before YouTube? I think probably Newgrounds, maybe, or
did people probably, maybe they sent them in.
Yeah. Or they have their own websites. I mean, people used to have their own websites. So just host
well, no, videos. I mean, like are you talking like, what's the one with Mr. Spock?
In Search of? Yeah, before the internet, I was probably seeing them on TV shows. But I meant that I know that I was watching internet ghost videos, like watching them online before YouTube. And I just can't remember where it was I was watching them back then.
Yeah, well, there weren't many video streaming services at that time, and they were expensive. They were really expensive to host.
Yeah, probably something called like ghostvideos.com or something.
Yeah, I think it's only maybe by about 2003, maybe that 2002, 2003, where I don't know if it's compression or memory or better internet service where you could finally like watch stuff.
Yeah.
There was a series called Channel Frederator that people would submit like their kind of art videos to, and they would do these like sort of weekly or monthly installments of like 5 or 6. They were fantastic. But it was around that time. It was maybe like 2003.
I think Frederator is still around, but now it's a YouTube channel.
Frederator. I got to look them up. I'm just amazed they're still around. But they had some really good early cool stuff.
Yeah, I remember lots of flash animation. But at some point in there, I know that I was watching ghost videos. And then once YouTube picked up, then I was watching ghost videos on there. And today now it's all... you're finding them on channels that are aggregating and then doing compilations and commentary.
Yeah.
Is usually how you're finding them. Unless you're actually in the cess trenches of Reddit and are on like our ghosts or whatever. But back in the day, like these videos were presented with no or minimal commentary or explanation or context. These clips would be on there. and it'd be up to you to kind of spot the thing. And then later they started doing like replays and zooming in and circling things. But back in the day, it was just, here's some people in a gutted out house, and then they see a shadow between some rafters and they run away. That's it.
Do you think that, so like with narration and like commentary, do you think it's creating a bias for the viewer?
I think a lot of them do. They'll talk over the entire video and tell you what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Whereas the early ghost videos really were jump scares in a way.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that ghost videos in general are their own genre of entertainment that have changed. Now, I'm saying entertainment because I know you said we're not going to like cast any shade on them or try to say that they're all fake, but a lot of them are very obviously fake.
So are you a true believer or a skeptic?
Well, I'm a skeptic. Yeah.
Fair enough. Why? Because you grew up with all these things, or?
I mean, I used to be a true believer and grew up with these things. I grew up in a quote unquote haunted house and had experiences that at the time I couldn't explain. But then looking back on them, I found like other explanations. I went to school for, science, and I think it's, there's no ghosts, man. But there's culture. I think culture, there's culture that shapes your experiences. And so if you grew up in a culture where the framework is that ghosts are real and they cause these things, then anything that you then experience is going to be viewed through that framework. So you're just going to say it's a ghost that did it.
Are you saying that culture can shift you toward being a true believer or a skeptic?
I guess it could shift but at least it will shift your current position on it. I mean, if you only existed in that one culture, then you would never have any reason to question it.
So let's say you are a true believer and you were raised in a very specific culture. That culture is going to shape what you think you see.
Yeah.
I'm neither. I'm going to pick the morally high ground here.
That was also very, I feel like I was back in class again because Tim was one of my anthropology professors. Yeah. And so I was like, oh shit, did I just answer incorrectly? Oh, no.
Cody walked into a minefield. I set him up. He was like, oh, look, a delicious snack in the middle of nowhere. It's like, don't move. Did you hear that click? That was a mine.
Yeah.
Don't move. You fell for it. No, I would say, I don't know. Scientist sounds kind of lame, but I kind of view that coming into anything with a precondition, whether or not it's believing something or just flat out disbelieving it, but coming into a new condition where you don't know anything.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, it's fake. And then I do see like a lot of videos where they're coming into everything as a believer.
Yeah.
We're trying to accommodate the believers. And then they're trying to scrape up everything they can to prove that demonstrate how it's a real thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's called confirmation bias. And then skeptics do the same thing, but the other direction. I'm kind of of the view of like, well, let me see what we got. And because there are those videos where I'll see it, I'm like, I don't know. and I can't say, well, this is proof either way, but I'm like, well, if they faked it, I can't figure out how.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
But just because you don't know how it was faked doesn't mean the person who faked it doesn't know how.
But see, we could say that about anything, right?
Yeah.
Like just because you don't. But then it's also like, well, if it is real, what the hell is it? What are we looking at? And again, there's those other options where it's like, I think a majority of these are just people are filming something and they don't recognize what they're filming. Mm-hmm. And of course that shapes of like, oh, it's that. What's the phenomenon where you see faces?
Pareidolia.
By the way, does that apply to bodies and stuff too?
It does now. In its original, it was just that you would see facial patterns, but now it's more of seeing even like body parts and body shapes beyond just faces.
Have you seen where it's what is it, the Xbox Connect lasers? They experience pareidolia.
Yeah, and even the development team who programmed those have come out to explain you are not getting ghosts. You are using this device improperly, and so you are getting glitches that are predictable. Like we know why it's seeing those shapes and stuff, and so it's not. Yeah, but that's the thing you'll see on YouTube. Okay, well, there's ghost hunting shows on YouTube, but then there are videos that are not people trying to find ghosts. They just happen to catch ghosts, but they're still within that same bubble of YouTube paranormal ghost videos, if that makes sense. Because a lot of the compilations that you'll find today are just clips taken from other YouTube channels of people who were supposedly hunting ghosts.
Yeah, and that also kind of implies that if you go to the right specific places, like you have to know where to go. You know, you have to go to a hunting ground. You have to go to a place where the
hunting ground?
A haunting ground where the game is plentiful.
Yeah. And that's its own kind of confirmation bias, though.
Yeah.
Also, it's interesting that some of these places are tourist locations where there are thousands and thousands of videos that are taken there every day or in a given time period. And that, only a small percentage will catch the ghost or see something paranormal. Coincidentally, they're the ones who went there looking for something paranormal.
Yeah.
That's a little suspicious, maybe.
There's suspicious ones where it's filming something for no good reason.
Yeah.
And then something happens. Like there's one I remember vaguely where it was like a restaurant. And I think someone told them that it's haunted. Mm-hmm. And they were at the restaurant and I think they set up a camera, but it was sort of in a weird angle, it was in an angle and whatnot where it's like, that's the point is, I don't think they were doing it on purpose, but they just happened to be there with a camera and catch this thing. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of those where it's sort of like the setup to it is, what the hell are you doing filming this anyway?
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a ghost right in center of frame.
Whereas, those old ghost videos, like 20 plus years ago, they're usually people filming things that they're hanging out or they're doing daily activities. And you might ask that question, like, well, why are they filming that? Back then, we did shit like that. There was nowhere to post it. There was no intention to share videos, but you'd hang out with your friends and one of you has a now cheaply obtainable commercial camcorder.
Yeah.
So you're filming everything all the time. And these early ghost videos usually are people hanging out doing mundane things, and then they just happen to catch something in the background.
You have a good point, because I'm going farther back to like I guess it was a Super 8. My dad had one of these film movie camera. And he would do stuff, of course, of like Christmas morning and whatnot.
But there's specific things trying to document.
But then there's things like family vacations where he'd waste 5 minutes of just pointing the camera out the car window where you don't see anything. There's all kinds of crap. Like, why are you filming this? And I think it's because that's at a time where that in his childhood was a non-existent thing. Yeah. It's really exciting, but it's like, yeah, but you're filming some cows in a field, really.
Yeah.
But then we move forward to when it becomes digital video, where it's, you buy the camera, it's free.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if people just went through that phase of let's just film cows in a field, and everybody's over that as of like the 90s. They're just kind of burnt out with that. Like, let's just film important things like selfies and what we had for breakfast.
Yeah. And because these were becoming more readily available, I think I've talked about this same phenomenon with, I think might have been in the rods episode where I talked about sky rods, was that these were a newly available technology to the masses, digital camcorders at least. And so there might be certain artifacts that are in the recording process that average people wouldn't even be aware of was a thing that could happen. So you'd get distortions in some of these video clips, and that is then interpreted as proof of something paranormal.
Yeah.
When it might be like, no, you were filming in a low light environment with a a very low resolution early digital camera.
Yeah.
And so your friend's face got motion blur when it turned. They were not possessed by a demon.
Yeah. And the other ones, well, I mean, just real quick, anecdotally, same thing is like I got trail cams all over it. It'll get triggered for no good reason, but it is a good reason. You see, it's like it's really windy and it actually picks up pollen really close and crap in the air, and so you'll see all these little things going by, and it's like, are those the spirits of the day? You know, it's yeah. And then you will get bugs. You will get there's some comical ones where there'll be a bug hovering around right in front of the thing. But again, because of the frame rate, I set it to really low, shitty settings, so I don't have to check it all the time. And it's like, yeah, you'll get that little corkscrew looking sky rod thing.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's like the people who are into that. It's like you got to learn how cameras work. This is not. Anyway, where were we going with this?
Oh, just that the early ghost videos seemed to be mundane scenes of everyday bullshit, because that's what people were filming at the time.
Right.
And it's not like they were setting out to catch ghost stuff.
Right.
Or at least that appears to be the setup in some of these early ghost videos. And then as time goes on, it now becomes more focused almost, where a lot of these current ones are actually a whole series of videos that tell a narrative story. So the person keeps posting updates and it ramps up. The activity has to ramp up. And those are, I think, probably because the movie Paranormal Activity kind of set that.
Yeah. No, you hit on something, though, is that I never realized until you said that, is that arises suspicion in me when you have somebody filming something super mundane, like, why are you filming a person at the end of a hallway at a table?
Yeah.
Like, why would you bother with this? And then some ghost thing happens, and it's like, oh, aha. And as I was like, why are you filming that? Because nobody does that crap anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody wastes.
I've seen so many ghost videos and noticed trends in them to the point now where I can kind of start calling shots. Like, I know from the framing of how the camera is set up and the angles where to look to expect the thing that's going to
Before it happens?
Yes.
Ah, nice.
And it's just because you've seen so many of these that are tropes. They become genre tropes. But then you can go back and find these earlier videos that are like, well, here's the Citizen Kane of, the ghost girl in the room video genre is right here,
Yeah.
It's when they're done well. They're done very well.
Those are rare.
Yeah. I think they were more common back in the day, maybe because I was more credulous.
So what would you make as the list of, I don't know, top 5 mistakes for people who do sort of staged ghost?
Okay.
What are the top 5 mistakes you think they make?
Well, being too ambitious. Like, there's ones where there's too much going on, where,
What do you mean?
because I could tell you there's ones where it's obvious that the angle that you're filming at, like, okay, so a door, you're in a room, there's a long hallway, and one of the doors at the end of the hallway, like, you see a figure go into it and it slams. So they run down to the end of the hallway with the camera, their point of view. They open the door and they don't immediately, they don't look into the spot that you would normally look at where you'd expect a person closing the door, like behind the door. And also they're aiming at such a high spot that if their accomplice, if it is fake, they just duck down and step under the camera and then behind them. And then and those are the kinds of mistakes where it's very obvious how you did this thing.
Yeah.
And then having too much go on. What I mean by that is, it's like, oh, a chair moves, okay, that's easy enough to do, string. But then it just ramps up now, well, every cabinet door is opening. This kitchen is getting trashed. There's things flying everywhere. And it's like, okay, well, you just kind of ramped it up too high. That's just too much of a, I don't know. I don't know how ghosts work.
So that's too ambitious.
Too ambitious, I think. There's ones, there's the obvious video manipulation where they've added in elements in digital editing. Those ones are pretty obvious. Or
how can you tell?
It used to be back in the day where, because the software wasn't, you didn't have access to all the software, where it really was just a hand grabs the person, but then you look at it like that is a photo of a hand and it's like sliding in. It's not interacting with anything.
It's sort of like a Monty Python.
Yeah. Or it's clear that the ghost that you're seeing is just the girl from The Ring.
Oh, wow, really?
You know, that happened for a while. Once that movie came out, The Ring and The Grudge, suddenly all the ghost videos had ghosts that looked like the ghosts from those movies. That's another thing that, as the popular media changes, the depictions of ghosts and ghost quote-unquote evidence in these videos start to shape the most recent horror film franchise that came out. Because if these are amateur filmmakers, they are being inspired by the films that came before. Sure. And, you know.
But they're not original then. They're all derivative and fake.
Pretty much. But isn't that everything? Everything's a derivative. It's all, you know, it's all the Odyssey. Everything's either the Odyssey or Beowulf. That's it. Those are the two stories we got.
Okay, what about so number 3?
Oh, mistakes.
They get too ambitious.
They easy staging where it's obvious how, you know,
the staging is
but
that's different than being too ambitious.
Yeah.
Is that they're just too obvious.
Yeah.
Like the center of frame happens to be where all this stuff happens. And,
I don't know. I wasn't expecting to be put on the spot like this.
I mean, it could be the top 3. I don't know.
Yeah. I'd have to really think about it more, I think.
The third mistake.
I mean, if you can see the zipper, that's
yeah.
You know, when it's like they caught footage, this is like real footage of they saw the Slender Man. It's like, well, Slender Man isn't a real. Is less real than other.
We know where Slender Man came from. We know the author. It's documented.
So those are the ones that. I'm trying to think of ones that I've seen where I actually have to question myself on like how they did it.
Well, I think. To add in there is that this is really messed up, but this is how I'm using this as a analogy is, I used to for years, Mesoamerican archaeology. And I had actually gone into there. I'd been into a museum to consult of whether or not an acquisition, a thing they were going to buy is a fake or not. And I was able very quickly to point out that it was authentic, but it had been restored. There were cracked, missing pieces. Uh-huh. And I got the curator within a minute. I was just like, okay, look, do you see the background is a mustard yellow? But do you see in this piece, it's lighter.
Yeah.
And do you see this? And by the way, the hieroglyphic text does not match up. This is nonsense here. It's not that it's not authentic, but it has some fake parts to it, and they want to sell it as a genuine thing, and it's not entirely. It's been restored. So the idea is with artifact forgeries is they try not to. The opposite is they try not to get too ambitious.
Yeah.
People are less likely to be suspicious if you always do what has always been done. So you could create maybe like the list of the top 10 plain, most common vanilla ghost sightings. And you can find that as more ones come out, there is this percentage of 90% always fit into these categories.
Yeah.
And it's not that those are the only categories that could ever exist. It's because they believe they're more likely to be passable.
Yeah.
If they match known stuff already. It's like, oh yeah. And especially if you do have a big group of followers that they've created their own language, like watching the videos is like, well, it could be the shadow people.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, you gotta be the shadow people.
The magician?
That's the thing too, is as time has gone on and trends have changed, you start to see new types of ghosts that were not there before. And so you have to wonder if they are real and they're being captured on film, why were they not capturing that same type of ghost back then? Or as orbs have fallen out of fashion, we don't see them as often in videos because everybody now is aware of backscatter and how that happens. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't think 20 years ago, you weren't hearing the phrase shadow person. You might see shadowy figures, but they weren't the same as like the shadow people as we know now. Shadow people now are like very dark, almost like tangible darkness, you know, like physical darkness. Whereas back in the day, it was like a see-through transparent shadow.
I just kind of wonder, like, how are those not ghosts? I mean, how are those, you know, it's like everybody wants to create these, they want to create their own little monster manual.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel like not that long ago, it would have been like, well, that's just a ghost.
Yeah.
You know, do ghosts have to be like floating with white sheets and stuff? It's kind of stupid.
If you're watching Filipino ghost videos, yes.
Oh, they have to wear a white sheet?
Okay, so that's another thing too, is that ghost videos, you get them from all over the world. And so the types of ghosts that show up in them do reflect their cultural beliefs about what a ghost should be. So I'm pretty sure it's in the Philippines I know it's Southeast Asia, but I think it's in the Philippines. There's a specific type of entity that shows up on film, and it is their ghost it has to be wrapped. It's a corpse wrapped in a white sheet, but you can see the face.
Okay.
And that's because that's how they prepare people for burial.
Okay.
And so the idea is that when you see a ghost, it's gonna look like that. And so all the ghost videos, and that genre is usually dash cam footage. They're driving these rural roads at night, and they come around the corner, and there's the corpse wrapped in the sheet.
That's a whole genre too.
Yes. See, and then whereas like in certain parts of Japan, a ghost does not have legs or feet. But in other instances, it could only be a pair of legs or feet. Yes. Awesome. So those are the things if ghosts are if they're a real phenomenon, it is interesting that they reflect the cultural perceptions of what the rules are.
Well, a believer could insist then that, well, the culture you participate in shapes what kind of appearance you'll have when you're a ghost.
I guess, yeah.
Aha.
Okay, what are some of your favorite, like, if you had to say genres, like different types of ghost videos, which ones do you enjoy the most?
I would say I don't know if I'd enjoy the most, but I will say this, is the roadside one is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And those ones, I kind of think are more, I think those ones seem different in the sense they seem more like mistaken identity.
Mm-hmm.
That the roadside ones, all the ones I've seen, it's not that they look staged or fake. It's that it's like, yeah, it is possible to have an old lady walking down the road at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we live in the mountains.
Yeah.
That's just normal.
Yeah.
That's just the, like if you were to hit a deer with your truck, or you're like, okay, that sucks. What you're keeping your eyes open for is, oh, please don't make me hit a lunatic.
Oh, yeah. It's
please.
Somebody who, has driven rural back roads at all hours of the night. You are hyper aware in like, what am I going to find? What's going to come? Could it be a mountain lion crossing the road? Because I've seen that. I've seen, people just randomly wandering down one lane logging roads in the middle of the night. And as a kid, doing a lot of road trips with my family, when we would be driving at night, because this is young Cody, who's super a real believer, I was always afraid of seeing something out the window. You know, what's on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And so that genre of ghost videos or Bigfoot videos, paranormal videos, the dash cam and the roadside stuff is still pretty good.
It seems more legitimate in the sense that every one I've seen so far, not that I've seen a ton, but every one, it just does seem like that, where there is a person standing in the road, and it's like,
I've seen people walking on the side of highways and interstates late at night too, and that's I know somebody who did have a mental break where they went and stood in the middle of the highway at like 2:30 in the morning, and they were convinced that they could redirect cars with their mind.
Oh no.
You know,
did it work?
Well, they didn't get hit, but so there are people who might be in places you do not expect. That's another one too. Some of these ghost videos, clearly unhoused people in abandoned buildings. Just leave them alone.
Yeah.
It's clearly what's going on is there is an unhoused person or an unstable person who's having a bad time, and you've gone into their space. Just leave them.
Yeah. Oh, backing up though, around here, there is a very mundane explanation for a lot of potential sightings. I haven't seen any videos of people sighting stuff, but you can. there are a few bars, and there's sort of one main thoroughfare or road, a highway, a 2-lane, not a big deal. But you can have people where it is late at night because they've had enough to drink. They've had too much to drink. Yeah. And a lot of people around here are like, fuck it. Home is only 2 miles away. I'll huff it.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll walk it. And so and we don't have a lot of streetlights or anything here. I mean, we really don't.
Us mountain folk have pretty good night vision.
Yeah. I mean, there are some streetlights the closer you get to civilization, so to speak. But yeah, where all of a sudden you're going around a turn and your headlights will hit somebody. And easily if you had a cam, it'd be like, well, they're walking strange and whatever. Yeah. And it's like, no, that's just so-and-so. He works at the hardware store. You know the guy. No, he's just walking
But he was wearing
home.
like clothes from like the 1980s. Yeah, that's him. He hasn't changed his outfits.
Yeah, it's got like long hair covering his face. Yeah, he does in the daytime too.
Yeah.
He looks like one of the Ramones. And it is pretty. So that's one of those categories where I would say is least likely to be faked.
Yeah, just misidentified.
But I will say this anecdote. I knew this gal in college. I'm not going to name names. And she grew up in a rural mountainous area. And in high school, she and her friends, when they would get bored and drunk or whatever, I mean, this is what you do, I guess. They would get rolls of duct tape, and somebody got suckered into being the thing. Uh-huh. And they would duct tape the person with the duct tape facing the other direction, outward, the sticky part. And then they would just get on the ground and start rolling around, and they'd be covered in like pine needles and duff and all kinds of crap. And so they would look like just this thing, which by the way, could pass as Bigfoot from a distance. And then they would just go to this like special spot they had where they could kind of hide, and they would wait for a car to come by, and then they'd have their friend cross the road just barely out of the reach of the headlights. And that was entertainment. And I think it stopped because there was a moment where their guy nearly got shot. Because that's why you wouldn't do that around here. Is someone's going to be like, oh my God, Bigfoot. And they're going to bring out a rifle. Also nearly caused some car wrecks.
Yeah.
So they're just like, yeah, no.
Yeah, never rule out kids pulling pranks is another one for some of these paranormal videos.
I gotta make a call to Garth while it's phone time. He can actually accept phone calls now. Is it prison or jail? He can get phone calls for the next half hour.
We're not saying where he really is. We said he's out hunting the Yucca Man.
We're not saying which one. Yeah. And the Yucca Man happens to be in the next cell over. So we got to call Garth and check in and see if he needs anything.
Yeah, we got to put more money in his commissary account.
Yeah, exactly.
Dig for bones. We at the Least Haunted Podcast stand with those of the LGBTQIA+ community and especially want to voice our support for the trans community, masculine, feminine, non-binary, and every other of the beautiful assortment of people who are going through so much vitriol and hate in these difficult times.
We welcome you to join our friendly and supportive Discord, and if you want to help support the community or need help yourself, we fully endorse the Trans Lifeline at translifeline.org. We can get through this together.
You are all deserving of life and love. And remember,
the world's more beautiful with you in it.
All right, well, I mean, Garth sound like his spirits are up. He's doing all right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to keep talking about ghost videos. And you said you had another kind of category of ghost videos that aren't as you said.
Well, there's just a broad category of ones that would be like not staged, but not really convincing as ghosts. It's just more misunderstanding.
Okay.
Or ready to jump to conclusions pretty quickly. And like you're saying, there might be cultural bias where you immediately go, I can't explain it. It must be something.
Yes.
There's one I saw. It was like a mini mart kind of thing. And they, of course, have security cameras in there. Yeah. And the guys working in there were losing their minds because the whole refrigerator section with all the beverages, like on the back wall, the doors kept just opening and closing uncontrollably. And they thought it was like, poltergeist. And they were just losing their damn minds, right? And and of course you have the narrator, is this clear evidence of a haunting of this? and it's like, you look at it like, no, it's because the air conditioning unit is clearly on the roof and it's windy outside. So you're getting air blowing into the HVAC system, and it's causing high pressure behind all the beverages,
Yeah.
Because there's a little walk space there that people can stock. And so it's just blowing the doors open.
Or even, I mean, I've seen in places where it's really hot outside and they do have the AC going indoors, but then you also have your cooler doors. So you have like several different extreme temperatures going on.
Yeah.
And when the door opens, because of convection, it'll pull, and those will pull the doors open.
Yeah.
So the sliding doors open in the front of the place. This warmer temperature, it's gonna cause a little current, and these cooler doors are somewhat pressurized.
I mean, I could make my back door open by slamming the front door.
Yeah,
It's just that easy.
Or you can notice, I've seen, just today I was watching a ghost video that was a classic one from early YouTube, in which a doorway to a basement pops open, and it's supposed to be proof that there's a ghost there. And they were filming for their dogs, were in the room. But it's at the start of the video, you can see the door is not latched.
Yeah.
It's not latched at all. And it's a cold basement down below, and this is an upper story. Is like, yeah, air currents. Maybe you have your dryer down there,
Yeah.
and it is just pumping warm air out the back, and then warm air rises and it goes up your stairway to the unlatched door and it opens.
Yeah.
Or it's a ghost. I don't know which one's more likely.
Yeah. No, I saw a guy, and it seemed very genuine, but it was also like, it was like, no, it's not a ghost. It was his kitchen cabinets kept opening, and they're the kind that you could hear them like kind of pop shut and whatever. Yeah. But he opened up the cabinets to just check and see if there might be rats or something in there. But what you noticed is the contractor was lazy or something, where drywall behind the cabinets and spots had been cut away.
Okay, so just like went into the walls.
Yeah, so there's an airspace into the wall space.
Yeah.
And you can get big pressure differentials there. Again, where you could get you get a strong wind, you've got a ventilator thing through the attic, blows down into the wall space, and it just blows them open. But the guy just immediately was like terrified of, again, it's just sort of like the early humans seeing fire for the first time, where it was like, dude, calm down.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is it was jumping immediately to, I can't explain this, react in terror. And I do believe his comments were something to the effect of like, oh my God, I think it's ghosts,
Yeah.
And it's like, just relax. I think you're fine.
Yeah. Old enough house, the foundation might be kind of crooked. So sometimes doors will swing open and closed. Not a ghost. There's also a bunch of them that are unexplained noises in the ceiling. And it's a raccoon in your attic, dude. Those ones get put on a lot too, where it's, there was one where there was like access to the attic in the wall of a room. So there's a little panel, and the panel kept popping off.
There you go.
And the lady would put it back on and then like leave the room, and then she would like close the door, pull the door shut, and the panel would pop off.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, yeah, you're doing the same thing. You're closing that door is making a pressure thing, and it just pops it off.
And attics get hot.
Yeah. That's why you have little vents up there.
Yeah. All right. So again, I'm not saying that I think all these things are fake. And I'm also not saying that they're, genuine proof of ghosts. I think there are clearly fakes.
Oh, yes.
Especially because those are getting clicks, that there's, for a lot of people, like, how often do you see where it's some famous ghost video where the person has never posted anything before? Like, they're not an influencer. It's just a one-off.
Well, there's the genre of none of their other videos show anything paranormal except for this video. Therefore, that's proof that it's not fake, because they've never posted anything before.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, like
that's the long con, dude.
Like the shitty sitcoms where they would do like a Halloween episode.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking like in crappy 80 ones where literally they'd be like, a Halloween episode with Chips.
Cool Chips.
Where they have to go, the neighbors report, someone reports a haunted house and noises, and they have to go check it out, and it's like, ooh, spooky. I think it's just another way to get hits. It's another, and it's an experiment, and they know well that they can only do a one-off because that's not their consumable.
Yeah, versus the ones where I launched the channel to show you the evidence I'm documenting in my home. Those are the ones where it develops a whole storyline and things keep ramping up. Those are ones that are also obviously fake because
I suspect a lot of those, though, to be honest, I suspect a lot of those are art projects. It's one of those where part of the art project is to bring someone through the entire storyline.
Yeah.
And it helps with suspension of disbelief. If you don't come out and say, I'm going to tell you a ghost story now.
Yeah.
Here's our next installment. And you bring everybody through it. And then a lot of the artists just want to keep quiet. And they leave it at that. And they might be portraying it as real. But it strikes me as like, this is more like an art film project. And it is entertaining.
Yeah.
And it did get clicks. But like how would we make a good, really good, convincing fake that we would have a hard time debunking?
Yeah.
I know one. I got a suggestion.
Okay.
Now, I don't think we have to make a bullet point list, but I'm just throwing out a suggestion. Is if you're going to make stuff move, make it move in a way that can't be explainable by strings.
Oh, yeah. I've seen one where a cup seemingly floats straight up, but it doesn't seem like it's like the way it goes up almost seems like it was propelled from underneath, like a puff of air or something like that. But I still couldn't explain it. It did not seem like a string pulling it up. So
There's enough of kitchens going haywire and like dining room chairs scooting across the ground and then drawers opening. Another one that I see as sloppy is in the poltergeist stuff is it seems as if things only move one at a time. So one chair moves, then another chair moves, and then a drawer in the kitchen opens, but it's almost like you could see the timing of it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, if you had all of that happen all at once and it was a very brief video, the only thing that I would have issue with is like, why were you filming your kitchen at night?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're going to do stuff where you're going to make stuff move, find a way to make it move where you could use strings, but you do it in such a way where it becomes really difficult to explain how you did it with string. Magnets, of course, is the other cheap one across like a table surface.
Yeah. Like I said, if you could avoid that 45-degree angle that would allow somebody to duck down and sneak behind you. When the door closes and they go in the room, they never look down into their left behind the door. They, for some reason, look to the right, the opposite corner of where the door is.
They look away because the accomplice is moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which some of them, though, I still have to hand it to them. Like, I'm sure that's how it was done because I still do that weird camera thing. But also, having an accomplice quickly duck out of the way and not make sound, that takes some practice. I mean, these are rehearsed things, some of them.
Okay, that's another one is filming indoors is a lot of these you have a hard right turn or hard left turn. That is, you're filming, and let's say you're filming in a hallway, and you're filming something at the end of the hallway. However, there is another hallway that turns right off of that and left off of that.
Yeah.
That you could have people hiding on either side. Like there's always a cover.
Yeah.
Like there's this one, I saw of a kitchen again. The one other giveaway was, it was in the back of the kitchen. And if you were to walk to the length of the kitchen to the dining room, you can make a right turn right there. Yeah. And so if you were pulling strings, that's where you would be.
Yeah. It has to be nowhere obvious where somebody could be hiding.
So if you had a completely enclosed room where, there's all doors are closed, there's no way in, there's no way out, a completely enclosed room, and you had stuff going on there, it's not impossible, but that'd be a lot trickier to explain.
The example you gave before of where somebody could be hiding, they're usually what, like your abandoned hospitals and schools, industrial institutions, looking down long hallways, right? But here's the thing. If it was a room that, the thing that pops to mind, and I'm sure you're not going to know this one, because do you ever watch Taskmaster?
No.
Okay. They have one room that is plastic sheeting. There's like nothing in there other than a table, and it's all plastic sheeting. So there's nowhere in that room for anybody to hide behind. If you could show me a room set up like that where stuff was happening, where I'm like, okay, there is no seeming place there's no couch that somebody's hiding behind,
Right.
who's manipulating things. It's like an empty blank room and something's going on in there. Okay, how'd you do that?
Or a room that really has no obvious hiding places.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be empty, but you can
No,
just,
yeah.
Yeah. And what else?
Um,
Oh, framing.
yeah.
Framing is another one, because that just seems really sloppy, where it happens to be that you catch this thing, but it always manages to be in center of frame.
Which is opposite of when you try to get Bigfoot. Bigfoot's always off, out of frame, out of focus,
off in distance. And that's the other one is, you're right, is, so you get one of two mistakes. It's perfectly in frame where it's like you're waiting for it to happen there, and you knew that because it's staged. But then the other one is, it's so far out there, it's so blurry, you're like, it could be a woman in a white robe,
but it could be a mushroom.
It could be a windy day and someone's laundry got away. You don't know.
Yeah.
Those are both just sloppy mistakes.
I guess, if I was going to do one, it would be the long con. I think I would go the route of having a channel that published something else. Like if it was going to be a trail camera, go through the process of having like a year of uploading trail cameras videos. That's your thing. You're the trail camera guy. And so then when something unexpected happens on the trail camera, you have like a narrative reason for why you were filming in that spot and caught the thing, and also that's what I would do. I'd set that up. But I'm also the kind of person who would, if I was going to do an elaborate ghost hoax, I would do a behind the scenes making of video to document us doing it, so that once it went viral as a ghost video, I could then expose how it was done.
Yeah.
So that might make some enemies.
It might give bad people good ideas, or it might kind of give viewers of these videos a little bit better of a toolkit to look at them. Again, because I don't get some joy out of going, you're a phony. But it's more for the viewers of like, when you watch these things, you could watch them for entertainment, but it seems like there's quite a few people that watch them because it's like, this is what they want to believe. And but it's giving them a toolkit so they can actually fairly evaluate for themselves.
Yeah.
It's not taking away their fun. It's more like, how about we give you a better toolkit that you could tease out the garbage, because maybe this person's kind of conning you, That's the thing too, is some of these I don't see immediately what they're getting out of it besides just notoriety, or like, I fooled people, that's fun. It's not like, my apartment is haunted, brought to you by Squarespace. You get ad revenue.
Well, you do on the compilation videos because that's their channel, but the original people posting some of these. Yeah. I mean, we don't get ad revenue for anything on our YouTube videos. YouTube, just because we're not a big enough channel. So YouTube might precede our videos or interrupt them with ads. We don't get anything out of that. Yeah. Versus sponsored content. So that's the thing, is some of these, if they are just doing it for entertainment and they're not seemingly getting any kind of financial gain out of it, it's kind of it's harmless. I think it's harmless fun.
Yeah, I mean, you could, if you're faking it, you could be doing it to be famous, just to have a good,
or just have fun. Like some of them I've seen are clearly young filmmakers or amateur filmmakers who are just exploring, like, I'm going to do this thing that is a film.
Do something. Another one is, if we were going to fake one, is to do something more original. Like I was saying before, is people play it safe by doing what has always been done, because then it's like, well, if you debunk this, then you have to debunk all the other ones, or that is, they're all the same thing. And so you're kind of safe hiding in the crowd, but do something unexpected. Get some kind of ghost thing going that is nobody's done yet.
Yeah.
That's what made James Wan a really good horror writer. is that his movies, like the Insidious series and
Okay.
The Conjuring,
Yeah.
is that he's done jump scares in ways that no one's ever done before. Okay, what's the most typical jump scare in a horror movie? Is
Closing the cabinet or the door.
well, it's closing the medicine cabinet,
Yeah.
right? It's going into the bathroom. They just saw something. Oh, I'm scared. It's the middle of the night, and they wash their face or something like that. And then they look up in the mirror, and there's something
Yeah.
behind them. Or they open the cabinet for a second and they close it. Oh no, James Wan had done stuff. He did jump scares in broad daylight in context you'd never expect. You're like, oh, this guy's really good. Like
Yeah.
just some of the creepiest stuff he's ever written is like literally scenes in broad daylight in just a suburban home.
I'm trying to think of like genre defining moments in ghost videos of the past that I'd seen where it's like, oh, that was novel. And then it was copied by other people, and to the point where it's, man, there was one where it was a pantry, and the pantry door had frosted glass on it. And the guy was filming it with a flashlight, and he would like put his hand, and then a hand would show up on the other side, and then he would open it, and you'd see that it's like a pantry, but it's mostly shelves, and there's no space for somebody to even be in there. Let alone the way the image seemed to appear was that somebody was getting closer and then backing away. You
Yeah.
see the frosted glass, but then you open it, like the shelves wouldn't allow you to do that. And then, but I still like, you figure that however they're doing it was a pretty novel new approach, because that you weren't seeing videos like that.
Right.
And then you start getting people who are now like, oh yeah, now it's you open the door and there's the ghost girl, the figure that's
Yeah.
there in it. It seems to be receding or approaching. But having that, the semi-transparency of the door kind of made it more unique than an average jump scare.
Well, it's harder to figure out.
Yeah, how they did it.
But that reminds me again of an aside. So this is a brief aside. Is the genre again of sort of innocent, natural things that people are just and there's ones I've seen a lot more still photos like this, but it's looking through a window or people standing in front of a window and they're like at their picture, but then there's this dark looming figure behind them.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the reflection of the person taking the photo.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those like that where it's like, do you see the face, whatever? And it's like, yeah, it's your buddy in the room right behind you as you were taking the video. There was one where it was like it was like an apartment or something, and you could see, maybe second floor, third, but you could see a bit of like the suburban skyline out the window, but all the lights were out. It was night. And there was this red light just kind of moving around in the sky over the neighborhood, and it was going down and whatever.
Very erratic.
Yeah, and you look at it, and no, mind you, it could have been an effort to be a fake. It was a UFO video, right? But could have been an effort to be a fake. It's hard to say if it was intentional, but it's really obvious. It was like, yeah, the way the camera angle's moving, it's like, this is the record light on your camera reflecting off the window. So to viewers, you got to remember that windows are reflective or semi-reflective surfaces. The fact they can be semi-reflective makes it worse because you can have these ethereal, hard. You don't get a lot of good resolution, but like a figure.
That's how a lot of smoke and mirrors. That's how a lot of early ghost effects were done. Was it's not necessarily a mirrored piece of glass. You could just have an angled piece of glass that is semi-transparent, and
What's that called? It's a Pepper's Ghost. Is that
what it's called?
I think it's called Pepper's Ghost, right? Where you have like a 45-degree angled pane of glass, and then it was like the Disney Haunted Mansion, like way back when. That there was a number of the effects that were just that.
That made me think of another one that is something that might be captured on film that could be thought to be paranormal, but is actually something much more interesting and exciting. Is accidental camera obscuras. So the camera obscura is like a pinhole camera. It's when light, and you get the upside down image somewhere else.
Right.
It happens all the time on people's, their blinds. If they have like blinds in their window, the Venetian blinds, there's little holes and gaps like where the lines go through, and they can create camera obscuras on your wall. So you could see a person or a vehicle passing outside. I actually tripped out on my wall. See, on your wall right now, you can see the shadow of the leaves from outside.
Yeah.
There's something outside. There's probably the windshield of a car that's reflecting light and creating a shadow.
Yep.
But you look that way, you don't see the sun.
Yeah.
So you don't expect a shadow. That one spooked me in my own house, where I was like on my couch and up high, I was seeing stuff move back and forth. And it was my neighbor across the yard, across the driveway. And it was because the way the light was bouncing off of their windshield, it like projected them on my wall.
There you go.
So some of these videos, I saw one where a lady was in the cellar of, I think, a museum. And it was like a wine cellar. And she's walking around filming, and it's like a museum display. And then she hears something behind her, and she turns around, and there's a shadow that seems to sweep across the wall. And she goes into that room, and she scans around, and it seems that like, well, there's nothing on that side, and from where the shadow could have come, or where it moved. And so she's freaking out. But then you watch it, and you realize, like, actually, because she's in a cellar, there is a very small window up in that wall. So it could have just been the shadow of somebody literally walking on the street outside.
Camera obscura.
Yeah. And so their shadow or whatever came through the window. Well, that would not actually camera obscura. I mean, in that case, it just is that the sun is on that side outside of the building. So there is a bright window, and it's a museum, and somebody walked by outside, and their legs walking past this window caused this shadow that seemed to sweep the room that she went into.
There you go.
Not a ghost.
Hey, well, we haven't talked much about sounds. Do we have time for that?
Yeah, we can talk about sounds. There's a classic that I rewatched this morning that's called The Body of a Pig, which is a classic early YouTube ghost video of a group of paranormal investigators. They're British, and they're going into some kind of building. They claim they can't say what it is because the video starts with like text on the screen where the person says, "I am no longer affiliated with this research group, so I can't name who they are or where we were, but we caught this video." And it's an EVP of some rustle noises.
Electrical voice.
Yeah, we did a whole
electronic
episode.
voice phenomenon.
Yeah, we did an episode about EVPs early on in the show's history. But when they play it back, you hear what could be a distorted voice, like brr, 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 brr. And then what they do is they salt the mind by telling you what you're supposed to hear.
Yeah.
And make the suggestion. And the suggestion was that it's a voice that laughs and then says, "I have the body of a pig." So it's a demon, a demon video. That was a very early, I think that one was posted on YouTube like in 2006 or 7. So within 2 years of YouTube going live. That's a classic one. Anybody can look it up. The Body of a Pig ghost video.
Okay, I had my own experience. Now, mind you, it wasn't electronic, but I had my own experience, and then I had to laugh. Okay, so sometimes, like tonight, I'm probably gonna snore because it's just like. By the way, if you guys hear these wind chimes going nuts in the background for any reason, or it's kind of windy outside, I have way too many wind chimes on the front deck, but I'll get allergies or whatever, and I'll snore, and so I end up sleeping on that couch there. Okay, so we got a new fridge about 6 months ago. So I'm sleeping on the couch, 5 months ago, whatever. And it wasn't that late, but I was having a hard time sleeping. And I heard talking, like kind of in the distance, but it sounded like a woman's voice. And it was also kind of like, there was moments where I was like, do I need to get up and check? Because I also heard what sounded like, like they might be getting hurt. It was sort of like, and stuff like that. It was weird.
Sounds like I already know where this is going.
Yeah. And so I eventually succumbed to the whole thing after not being able to sleep and staying awake going, well, because we do have neighbors that'll like be up and they could be loud and stuff. But I was like, I don't know whose voice this is either. Because honestly, it's a small neighborhood. I can tell you who's awake and shouting or whatever, I was like, what the hell? And so I get up and I don't hear anything. And I'm like, shit. And then I lay back down and I hear it again. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's an angle too. The sound angle is reflecting off.
Yeah, bouncing off of the wall.
So I'm like hands and knees, crawling around the apartment, pointing around. And I'm glad she didn't wake up and go, "What are you doing?" It's almost
noise.
1 a.m. and you're on all fours on the floor crawling. What are you doing? And I was pointing around, and then I heard it again, and then I basically kind of crawl into the kitchen, and it's our new refrigerator.
The compressor pump.
It does these weird little farting, outgassing things where it just kind of goes "Boo," every so often. But sometimes it kind of goes like that, and you just because I think the first night I didn't investigate. I think I just I'm tired, but I eventually was like, I got to figure this out. This is weird. Because, and again, culture may have just immediately pushed me into like, well, it must be a ghost. Or
I heard a woman's
demon.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was just like, no, just go look. And the thing is, with our place, we have some fences on either side and all that kind of stuff, is the acoustics are absolutely bizarre here anyway, is that we can have, we'll hear some ruckus. And it's like, all right, who's using a chainsaw? And I'd point out to like uphill.
Oh, yeah.
And Alessandra is like, no, it's coming from back there. And I'm like, really? And then you have to just go outside and then you change angle. Then you can hear it's like, oh, it's bouncing off the fence. And that happens in houses. And then just like creaky stuff.
Your example of the fridge reminded me from the episode that we did on electronic voice phenomenon. At that point, I was working in a school. And the school is opened in 1850. It's like pioneer school in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Oh, that's got ghosts.
And I was the nighttime janitor there. And so
that's Scooby-Doo 8.5 inch.
So I set up a digital recorder in one of the main rooms and left it there while I went about my business for the night. And then and that's the other annoying thing is when you're trying to find a quote unquote EVP and you have to listen to hours of just white noise silence, you might start to hear weird things in the noise. But what I heard was there was like you described like a weird little noise. And I was like, the hell was that? And so like I wrote down the time, in the recording when it happened. And I'm listening. And then like 16 minutes later, again. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I wonder if I take that time interval and I skip ahead, will it happen again? And I skipped ahead in exactly the right interval. There was that noise. And so what I figured out, it was the HVAC system. There's a vent that was opening and closing on a cycle of like 16 minutes, 30 seconds.
The air vent system.
Yeah. So I could actually call the shot and be like, this is when it's going to happen again,
Yeah.
But if I wasn't recording long enough to actually get those intervals and only heard it one time, my brain, or, if I was more of a credulous or a believer in this thing, I probably would have thought that's like the old school marm making a noise. That's the, yeah. So,
so voice phenomenon. Do you ever experience any stuff like that?
No. And it's so subjective, to what you're hearing, and open to power of suggestion. We did a whole episode about that in which we had our friend Nate, who is a audio engineer. He has a science degree in sound, and we talked about EVPs, and they're just, a lot of it is the audio version of pareidolia. It's you are hearing things, usually more mundane sounds, and misinterpreting what they are.
There's got to be a good name for that, like pareidolia.
Yeah.
You got to make up a name for it.
You'd have to look at like whatever the root for the word pareidolia is, whatever it means, and come up with something that's similar. The audio version. But yeah, that's the thing. I think a lot of the ghost videos will have.
Well, I mean, misunderstanding song lyrics.
Yeah,
is a similar phenomenon where you could hear the same thing and it sounds like you, dear listener, if you've lasted this long, there is a famous hit song by Tina Turner in the 80s called White Slug. And if you go with that and you listen to it, it's swear to God she's singing white slugs got to do with it. It's what's love got to do.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if you listen to that, it sounds like she's singing about white slugs. There's a list of stuff like that. So that's the other thing is if you get this kind of thing that sounds like it could be speech, maybe not.
Yeah.
You could get 5 different people and they hear 5 different things.
Yeah, but usually in these ghost videos, they will tell you what to hear. They will have captions at the bottom of what you're supposed to hear.
Yeah.
And that power of suggestion is enough to taint your perception of it. And you will hear that this thing has the body of a pig. When in reality, it's probably the rustling of somebody's clothes close to the microphone, you know, or something else.
Stomach gurgling.
Yeah. Any mundane.
So what's the take-home message here?
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't fucking know either.
I'd say for me that most of these ghost videos on YouTube should be viewed as a form of entertainment and not as actual proof of the paranormal. This is what I would say. And that you can train yourself to at least try to see ways in which it could be fake. But I don't know if I would ever trust, especially now with AI and people having greater access to video editing software. Like, there's a lot of amateur content on YouTube is of like almost on par with Hollywood quality. And they're just people making things on their own. And so the combination of that, like modern editing software plus unfortunately AI, means that any of this ghost evidence videos or, video evidence of ghosts that are coming out, if it's just going to be on YouTube and it's not some like groundbreaking newsworthy item, you'd be a little skeptical about it.
Yeah, we might be in the official era where a lot of this stuff has to be officially scrubbed or dismissed.
Yeah.
Because AI has gotten pretty good to make passable stuff.
Yeah. And I think I actually called that being an issue years ago on this show. I said something along the lines that like in the future, if you're somebody who's like a cryptozoologist or a paranormal researcher who really believes and are trying to present evidence, then you should be pissed off about AI because it's going to make it to where nothing you present is going to be able to be taken at face value.
True. So that's one of the take-home messages. Anything else?
I guess we learned not to do it again.
Yes, sir.
I'm fucked if I know what we did.
Okay, if you want a moment, like I'm thinking, my approach, you got your own, but my approach is you don't come into it believing or disbelieving. You just see it for what it is, evaluate it. The one thing that we've offered here is that there are fakes out there and how to spot them and some of the common mistakes or whatever, because you might be a viewer of these things and realize there's a lot more fakes than you might think. Now, I'm not saying they all are. Don't go into it with a bias, but it's having a toolkit to kind of look at something and properly evaluate it first and go, is this fake? And so for me, I can't, if I can't find something wrong with it, or like, okay, I can't see how it's fake, that also doesn't equal proof. It just means that I can't explain it.
Yeah, I should amend what I was saying. When I say they're fake, I don't think that some of them are not fake, but that doesn't mean they're proof of the paranormal.
Yeah.
Because there are some who I think the person who captured this image, they might have caught something they don't understand, and they might sincerely believe that what they have is evidence, but it doesn't mean it really is.
Yeah, because it's one thing there are some things that you can disprove, but are really, really hard to prove. Mm-hmm. There are just some things like that where it's like, okay, based on this evaluation criteria, this does not appear to be fake by any normal or common means, but that doesn't mean it isn't.
Yeah.
But that's also that you can't go around and say, well, it's fake. That's why I just kind of go with like, I don't know. It could be, but I don't know. But all I know is it looks pretty legit. And then there's the other categories as well. That big one of like ones that are just innocent, where they're just common phenomenon.
Yeah.
And it's that people either are coming in with a bias and to be able to go, aha, and jump to it where it's like, no, that's a ventilation issue
Yeah.
or something really obvious. And it's like, go straight to paranormal. Of all the options you have to look at, you're just grabbing the first one to go, oh, that's paranormal. And it's like, no, it's a problem with the HVAC system.
Yeah. Sometimes there's ones that, like I said, they're not set up to be fake. Like, I think the person who filming is just as much experiencing it as you are watching it. But the actual explanation sometimes might be more disturbing of ones where it's like, no, that was, you were being followed by somebody in an empty building and you happened to catch them on camera as they were stalking you through a building. That is terrifying.
Yeah. Those are fun ones where it's like, no, it's not a ghost. It's actually a creepy homeless guy that was following right behind you in the darkness.
Yeah. Oh man, I just remembered one that was a guy. He had an actual reason for why he was filming what he was filming. And it was that he had an automotive channel where he does upgrades to his vehicle. And so he had updated like the backup light to this like off the shelf, like super backup light. So he drove out into on a rural road in his area and like backed into a dirt pullout and turned it on just so he could film it and like did a little talk in the camera light. In behind him, one of the trees, a hand reaches around the tree and then like slides back in. And then he leaves. He doesn't see it. And then like he goes back in the daytime and is like walking around trying to see like, are there footprints? Like what was going on? And it's kind of like, it's creepy, but it also is like, yeah, there was just a dude hanging out in that pullout and you backed up on him. I myself am guilty of this. Okay. Don't judge me, everybody. But Allison does. My wife judges me on this. So I live beneath a very dangerous stretch of California Highway 17, which is consistently ranked as one of the most dangerous roads, not just in the state, but in the country. And so there are a lot of accidents that happen above us, typically in the winter. And because in the past cars have actually come off the road and rolled down onto our property, anytime I hear a car accident, I grab the flashlight and I am like off into the woods to go up there and see, because that might be, I need to help pull somebody out, or we've had times where we've had to lead the fire department in through the other side of the property and walk them on deer trails to get them in the middle of the night to where they can get people. So sometimes though I get there, and when I get up there, I can see that nobody came over the side. It doesn't seem like this big injury. It's on the road, so it's not my problem. And emergency vehicles are showing up. So I'm just going to sit here in the darkness and watch the show.
Oh, no. You were the hand behind the tree.
I am the hand behind the tree. I am the creep in the dark. There was one time where I went up because I just was like curious then, because it sounded like they had it all in hand. But I was like, I just want to see what's going on. So I creep up there and I like peer over the dirt berm and look down, and I'm looking right into like a police car, and the guy doesn't even know I'm there. He's doing like paperwork, but I am like looking in, and then I dip back down to the darkness and slink off. One time I showed up, Mule Man Jared, who the listeners are aware of, he was over and this happened. So we went up there to see if we could help, and we stumbled out. It's like dusk. And we stumble out of the woods onto the side of the road, and we look and we see clearly like there's nothing reason for us to be here. Everything's fine. Okay, let's duck back down and walk back into the darkness. And as we do, I look over. There is a vehicle pulled over, and apparently like the driver is out probably assisting or was probably involved in the accident. So they're not there. There is a child, probably about 10 years old, in the passenger seat, staring wide-eyed at the side of the road as two, dudes walk out of the darkness, seem to confer silently, and then disappear back. That kid, I guarantee you, for their entire life, are going to be telling people, I saw two ghosts on the side of 17 at the site of an accident.
I wonder if you guys have an official ghost name.
Point being, some of these videos might just be somebody like me who, it's a rural area. They know what they're doing out there in the dark. You don't know, but they do. They're not a ghost.
Yeah, easily. I mean, I guess if you just default to paranormal so quickly, it's like you're not imaginative enough to kind of think
That's the thing.
Could this just be normal?
For somebody. Normal is contextual.
Well, normal enough that is not requiring supernatural means.
Yeah. As we have found on the show time and time again, it's usually something more mundane like birds or someday we'll do an episode about the Green Man. Do you know about the Green Man?
Nope.
He was a urban legend character in, I think it's in West Virginia, of a person who wandered the roads at night, dressed all in green, and they have no face.
Okay.
Turns out he was a real guy, physically disfigured, who made the choice to walk at night so that he wouldn't upset people, because if he went to town, people would stare at him. And he was like blind, and he would just walk up and down the road at night. But he grew up there. That's his neighborhood. It just so happened that the local teens heard about him. And so that became the thing. Like, we're going to go see the Green Man. He's terrifying. But usually they actually would stop and hang out with him. He'd bum a smoke for them, or they'd give him beer and stuff like that. Just a dude, you know?
Yeah, but if you weren't from around there.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Dude. Hey, thank you for, I guess, letting me ride shotgun or.
Yeah. Well, thanks for jumping in and helping me out here. Since Garth is, we'll say, on away mission.
In custody.
Yeah, I need to fill his space for a while. We got temporary Garths, and we have some good guests lined up, coming up, some pretty exciting. Yes, we got some big names and some good gets coming up. Some return faces, people are, listeners are familiar with. On the topic of ghost videos, before we sign off. So next Saturday, which I believe is the 16th of May, keep a lookout for the Least Haunted Twitch stream channel. We haven't done anything on Twitch stream for a while, but our official streamer ghost, Lord Havelock, and I are going to be watching some YouTube ghost videos and doing live commentary and dissection of them.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so that'll be, and then we'll record it and it'll be available on our YouTube channel later. But if you look up Least Haunted on Twitch, I don't know the exact time yet, but it'll be sometime on, I'll post it on our Blue Sky or whatever. So by the time this comes out, it'll probably be in the show notes, but you can go and watch us watch videos, watch us watching something else. Twitch streaming is a weird thing. You watch other people do things.
Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to, sitting and watching YouTube and watching people hunt ghosts and do things. I guess that's everything on the internet, right? You're always watching somebody do something.
I guess.
Yeah. Anyway. Thank you so much for coming back on. I gotta shout out the Monster Squadron. We have a Patreon, and we have our Monster Squaddy patron producers, who are A Cow's Upper Shoulder Roast, aka Chuck, Travis Alexander, The Bi Barbarian, Rachel Krieger, Tom Dahl, Justin Duckham, Mary Ellen, Kelly Flynn, Gunnar Franks, Carla Harrington, Havelock, Kelsey Hopkins, Christina Hurley, Ian, Ken with 2 N's, or Monaken with 3, TJ Levenhagen, Madison S., Alicia Overton, Jordan Ramey, a different one, but still the same one, Blue Roan, Fan, and Tatum. Thank you, guys. Want me to tease what next episode's going to be about?
I'm in. I'd like to know. So
we're going to be joined by the person who literally wrote the book on sea monsters.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, paleontologist Darren, I think I'm saying this right, Naish. He is a pretty big deal over in the UK, works for the BBC as a consultant for their prehistoric TV shows and stuff. Literally wrote the book on marine reptiles.
But has he written a book on sea monsters?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
And so he's going to come in and we're going to talk about ancient marine reptiles and sea monsters and why maybe the two can't be the same thing.
Cool.
Yeah. So that'll be in 2 weeks' time.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. Tim, again, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Real honor.
It's fun for me to get a chance to talk about ghost videos with somebody else who enjoys the same trashy thing. I guess it's probably the way people feel who watch shitty reality TV shows when they get to talk about it with other people who watch it. So that was fun. So we'll see you all next time. And remember, until next time, the only thing that's haunted
is you.
The Least Haunted podcast is recorded before a dead studio audience and is a presentation of Sequoidea Productions, LLC.